And welcome to Tournament Odyssey for game number 1. This map doesn't really have a lot of ambience on it, and so every time I load in, I'm like, is Kane's Wrath muted? I can't actually tell. And unlike Red Alert 3, where you can hear people building walls from across the map, you're like, wait, are the sound effects not playing? Anyways, on the top right-hand corner, playing as the cyan marked of Kane, give it up for Senna. Meanwhile, playing the pink black hand in the bottom left-hand corner of the map, opposite of him, it is giopanipi. A name that I never know for sure if I am saying correctly. Oop, do we have 2 extra players in here? I think we do. Those guys. Oh, no, that's why. So if you didn't know, there is a player called Post Commentator and a player called Observer that exist in replays. And obviously they're not like real players. They're just how the game manages the fact that I, as an observer, am like watching this replay. Oh, what the heck is this? What is this that Senna has going on? All right, we got a couple of bikes coming right out here from giopanipi. He goes for the double refinery, quite close for a for what ends up being a kind of nod mirror, and the Venom is here as well. This is quite a rush coming out here from Senna. Quite a bizarre combo of things, and giopanipi will spot that this was some kind of an air rush. Oh, he gets him. He gets the engineer. And so an air tower rush is not the most insane thing in the game, but it is not a very common thing either. I mean, we have seen air rushes from Master Leaf maybe in the past, but that's really just to transport engineers around the map. We do have some bikes coming out, a Venom as well here for Senna on the defense. No EMPs have landed, but that's the thing about having awakened squads. They are so powerful compared to other early game infantry when it comes to killing bikes. They do have the ability to shred bikes, and so as a result, Senna is actually kind of okay there. He takes a little bit of damage, loses some bikes, loses the Venom. His air rush did get spotted out. One of his engineers was killed, and the response from Geo is going to be double War Factory in the main. He's still pumping harvesters, though. Up to 4 harvesters. He's got the buggy coming out of the other one. He's maybe a little bit worried about some kind of some kind of additional pressure coming his way, but he's not terribly worried about it. And there is going to be the sell-off, or the Tib Trooper, I think, from the sell-off of one of the from the operations center. And instead of getting a black hand squad who can burn down buildings or something, you just get the Tib Trooper, and you can't necessarily do a whole lot with it. But perfect execution of those bikes. They kill each other. One of them killing from beyond the grave. What a weird opening here in the first couple of minutes. Geo and Senna giving us a very strange first couple of minutes in this game, and now I think things are going to kind of calm down and become a little bit more normal. EMP does land, catches the War Factory, not a big deal. All things considered, one single little EMP is not the end of the world. Second Awakened Squad is crossing the map. He might be able to land an EMP on the War Factory again. It would just be kind of a minor annoyance, but no, he doesn't actually go far enough onto enemy territory. If you can get the MCV, occasionally you'll see someone, get a really critical building timing, and they'll delay something by a couple of seconds, but even when it's the MCV, it really doesn't have much of an effect on the game. It is almost entirely just to annoy your opponent and just cause them a little bit of pain. 3 Tib spikes under the control of Senna. Okay, we got a War Factory, and by War Factory, I mean Hand of Nod. Coming up here from Geo, he's going to be looking to potentially take back that Tib spike, but maybe not forever, as it is going to be a double War Factory, 1 base, all in with the tech, the operations center, the dozer blade upgrade on the way, because it is mass scorpions. This guy is looking for some boots to make a bed in. He's going to wake up in the morning ready to sting. And wait, where's the engineer? of the engineers down there. He hasn't actually captured the tib spike, and unfortunately for Senna, he lost his MCV, and now he's lost his upgraded power plant as well. Bike Buggy going to be jumping on these Scorpions, and this is where we actually need 2 observers here. A couple of rockets back at home. They do get crushed. A number of them survive the first volley, though, and they're trading out with those Scorpions. First couple of Harvesters are going down. Second Harvester under threat. 2-3 Scorpion tanks are here for Senna, but he's pretty much going to be in low power mode for the rest of the game, so those reinforcements are going to be slow onto the battlefield, and it looks like the Scorpions of Senna are going to be backing on up. He powers down one of his refineries, trying to even out his power grid a little bit here, and Gio is bouncing back hard. He has not actually expanded. He sells off his MCV as well, so it's a double MCV sell. The MCV sell to survive the MCV sell, and Gio and Senna going crazy against each other here in the first minute. That engineer still just hanging out, and that is a Senna engineer, which we'll try and keep an eye on there as he's crossing that left edge of the map, sells off the operations center, sells off one of the refineries, keeps around both of those war factories, and he finally cleans up those bikes. The buggies are still here, but they aren't much of a threat to the harvesters, unless of course the harvesters are extremely low on health. War factory gets sniped, so not only has Senna been at slow production because of low power mode, but now he literally only has half of the production facilities of his opponent. This engineer over here on the left side could change that. We'll try and keep an eye on him as the game progresses and these Scorpion tank armies face off against each other. Dozer blades versus no dozer blades. And, okay, so he just never got dozer blades. For a second, I was thinking that Blackhand didn't actually get dozer blades, but I guess it's just only Nod gets laser capacitors. Wouldn't it be sick if Marked of Kane got supercharged laser capacitors? Because, you know, it's the equivalent upgrade. I guess, well, okay, you know, never mind. I forgot that Blackhand also gets charged particle beams. So I guess everyone could get the upgrade. Big Scorpion fight. First EMP lands. A little bit of a concave going on here for Senna, but I'm not actually sure if he has more tanks. He does when 4 or 5 of them get EMP'd like that, and Senna is crushing through those dozer blades coming in clutch. The rockets not getting crushed, but it just doesn't matter as Senna's reinforcements walk all over much of Gio's army. Gio's still holding out, trying to fight dozers versus non-dozers, and more reinforcements coming in from each side. Senna down to has a good number of tanks. Gio down to just a couple of Scorpions left, and it looks like the tip spike was grabbed by Senna. So he didn't go for a high-value target with that engineer. Instead, he did just go for that Tiberium spike. Nothing too crazy. One rocket squad, perhaps, does survive. And those huge EMPs really helping Senna to take that fight. Not a lot of tanks left here for Senna. Fresh reinforcements popping out one by one for Gio. If he still had that hand of Nod, he could be producing those rockets as well. More tanks coming across. Senna hoping desperately to be able to end this game right here, right now. And it looks like Gio did take one of the tip spikes on the other side of the map. So they both have 2 tip spikes, but they're just split on which half of the map they actually sort of have their tip spikes on. Second War Factory gets sold off. The last couple of Scorpion tanks are here for Gio, but it takes so much longer for the reinforcements to get across the map. Dozer blades versus non-dozer blades, but repairs versus non-repairs. And now it is 3 versus 3. A fourth comes in here for Senna, just constantly streaming those tanks across the map. The repairs making such a difference for Gio. And now the 4th Scorpion is out. The dozer blade attack was not enough to end the game, but they're both on absolutely nothing. So many harvesters lined up here for Gio. That economy for Gio is going to be outstripping Senna over the course of the next couple of minutes. But of course, as soon as he crosses the map, then that equation of who has the advantage starts to tip. Senna has very few tanks left, and as long as Gio's production stays ahead of Senna's, he'll be able to overwhelm him eventually. But we might even be getting to a place where one of these players' chances getting an MCV back out. In Senna's case, it could really help him to get an Hand of Nod and get out some rocket troopers, but the thing he desperately needs is that better economy, and this is where Gio could actually resend a couple of these harvesters to the far field, to the natural expansion. You could send them over there to try and get more Tiberium, because right now, Gio's economy is the thing that is superior. More tanks coming in. But of course, if these harvesters aren't actually full of Tiberium, then it doesn't matter how many of them you have. And oh, Senna has done it. He's got out an MCV. He's got his tanks scrolling around the map, looking for fights, looking for trouble. And that means he does keep an eye on the tanks of giopanipi. And if he knows where his opponent's tanks are, then I guess he feels comfortable enough to get out an MCV. Not actually building anything with the MCV as of yet, but he does have that possibility of actually rebuilding his tech tree, maybe even moving his refineries over to his natural expansion, where he could really reseed his economy and absolutely crush Gio in terms of eco. Buggy goes for the scout. Gio probably a little bit curious as to what's going on the Senna, what's happening on the Senna side of the map, and yet there he's going to be able to spot that MCV. He's like, you took the tip spike back, so I could kind of guess that you did get a Hand of Nod, but it is now confirmed the MCV was rebuilt. The Hand of Nod is here as well, and laser turrets are on the menu for Senna. Clawing his way back into this game, a roller coaster for sure of ups and downs between these two players, and kind of a goofball match. Starts with an air rush, like a Venom plus 3 carryalls, which is not something you see. You might see 2 carryalls for 2 engineers, but the third carryall for the Tib Trooper and the Venom are that extra bit of spice that can also really slow down your economy. And Gio has had the economic advantage for a while in this game, and he may be able to continue that. 3 tib spikes are good, but of course an expansion is even better. And Senna's still just keeping his MCV over here. He is very worried about a counterattack. It seems like he's had that laser turret queued up, ready to go. He may also have some rockets that are queued and paused. But okay, no, he's going to pack up. He's going to head over to that natural... Is he heading to the third? Where's this MCV going? The last time you moved your MCV into the middle of the map, it did not work out super well for you. I guess we'll see. Where's he going? Oh, Gio. Gio decides to go up the hill. Gio wants the more full field. He wants that high ground expansion. And Senna is not doing the same thing. I thought Senna was going to be going to the high ground as well, but I guess the answer to that question is no. Harvester's getting caught. One will go down, it seems. The second should be able to escape. Tanks are not going to commit, and that was the Harvester that was full of Tiberium as well. First refinery done? Yes, first refinery done. And now all of the Harvesters can transition from the low ground up to the high ground. And Senna, no! Senna doesn't realize it, but that's like the worst field that he could take. I think he was assuming that Gio was going to be here, but Gio is not set up shop over here. Losing a second Harvester, always annoying. But Gio's got that refinery on the high ground. He's going to be so happy with that high ground expansion. And hey, they both got a ton of tanks. I would love to see a couple of EMPs from Senna. A couple of EMPs to be able to land on these tanks. But hey, you know what's also good? Laser turrets are good. Okay, yeah, he is getting himself a couple of awakened squads. He will be able to lock down those tanks. And of course, if you can EMP 5, maybe even 6 tanks in a fight, and you focus down the ones that are not EMP'd, you can cut down the effective firepower of your opponent so quickly. Tank lines reforming, just staring at each other in this moment. Little tussle, little nuzzle from these guys. Just a couple of shots each. No refinery on the low ground. So Senna, he's now about 10 grand down in total resources gathered. When they were both in the MCV selling mood, they were much closer to dead even. And Gio has just been growing a roughly 10,000 credit lead over Senna. I don't know if that was a movement bug. That might have actually been a little bit of a... Oh, I think he has his rally point misset. So it is rally point set there from earlier, but it's double War Factory from Gio. It is still Dozer Blade versus non-Dozer Blades. And the rockets will help out. Well, there's how many rockets are there? Literally 3. Okay. Maybe the rockets won't help out that much. 3 rockets is not that much firepower. And it is going to be mass Scorpion tanks. Both players getting trapped, getting locked in to this unit comp, getting set with this method of... survival. Just got to build more tanks than the other guy. And of course, Senna now gets the full scout on what Gio is doing. Gio and Senna almost perfectly in step with each other every moment of this game. From the MCV cells. I guess not the air opening from Senna. That's the only thing they couldn't be in lockstep about. And second War Factory. So still no refinery on the natural. He dropped a second refinery back at home, but that is still long distance mining for Senna. But at least his economy is alive. He's now 14,000 credits down. And here come the Dozers versus the Dozers. Gio finishes his upgrade. He doesn't care about rockets. He doesn't care about anything. There's a big EMP. The first big EMP of the fight. And Senna's army getting sandwiched into 2 groups. The southern half is getting absolutely destroyed, but that northern half is standing strong. Gio is going to be turning his guns to the north. It's rockets, it's laser turrets. 2 sets of laser turrets blasting away at Gio's tanks, and Gio is going to retreat. The massacre will be decided in favor of Senna. Both players losing tremendous amounts of tanks, and Senna's 2 Scorpion attack squad has not been dealt with by Gio. He dropped the Hand of Nod. He tried to get a couple of rockets, but it just did not work. Senna, I don't know that he can actually step out of his base and kill off Gio. If he tries to take down the buildings, Gio's tanks will be able to clean up his Scorps. So it's going to be a longer siege. It's going to be taking a little bit longer for this game to resolve. And Gio kind of says, okay, well, what if I just abandon my base? If I just cross map and I go for your main? But in this case, it's just going to initiate another fight. EMP does whiff there, but if those tanks had stayed in position, a couple of them would be dead from that EMP. The EMP is such a massive potential to shift fights in any moment. That is something that Gio always has to worry about, that EMP potential from Senna. And it is almost just pure Scorpions from each player. A couple of rockets. I can't believe he never got a refinery on this field. Senna has just been fighting with barely any cash in the bank, always low on money. And I mean, Gio is also low on money, but it's because he's spending quite a bit more. And he thought he had the right angle there, but those defenses, the laser turrets, the rockets adding in that extra bit of damage as well, forcing Gio into a bad situation. He thought he could go and take it, and the answer was no. Power plant gets targeted down. Senna trying to see what damage he can do essentially for free. And that's just a single squad. Couple of bikes do finally get out. Gio finds some damage, putting some hurt on Senna. And there's the laser turrets. Okay, Senna is going to completely dislodge Gio from his main base. Leaves the 2 tip spikes exposed as well. It means Gio's just going to be on the high ground. And he does have these couple of bikes out hunting these harvesters. 1 laser turret has been deployed, but the bikes might get the harvester regardless. They just might not even care about that laser turret. Oh no, they switched targets. They attacked the laser turret. So a couple of those shots were wasted. Second laser turret does deploy, and that's going to be the end of those bikes. So bye-bye bikes. Gio rebuilds his war factory on the high ground. Double refinery, but the harvesters are soon going to have nothing to do. Meanwhile, Still no refinery on an expansion from Senna. I can't believe how low eco of a game Senna is playing this out. By the way, Gio, 15,000 credits more gathered in total than Senna. So Gio is starting to build a pretty significant difference in economy, but that might flatline if he runs out of cash here. This field has been fueling his survival, and it's what allows him to sell off his main base and rebuild that on the high ground and not really miss a beat. He's still got a good number of tanks. If he could have caught them while they were all attacking that tip spike and got rear armor damage, that would have been nice. 3 tanks get caught by the EMP. Not a huge loss, but it is something. Second EMT to get the secured kill on at least 2 of the tanks. 1 does survive. Boy, that third tank who got EMP'd but survived, he's got a tale to tell. And Senna splits his army. Half of the tanks going back onto defensive mode. He finally does have that refinery, and Senna is now in a much more comfortable position. He has a couple more bikes to worry about. I can't believe Gio has only got 3 bikes here. He's been putting so much money into Scorpion tanks, and certainly you can understand that. But if he would have swung in here with 5 or 6 bikes, he just would be able to clean up those harvesters so much more quickly, and it'd be so much more of a realistic threat to this base that Senna has. His main back at home. And, well, that one awakened squad really causing some problems for the bikes. Gio not quite able to get the kill on that harvester. He's going to dive for it, and he will get the secured kill. Meanwhile, the Scorpions looking for the re-engage. Once again, Gio on the offensive, Senna on the defense. Gio briefly going into low power mode there. Shuts down his laser turret. Keep himself online. Harvester's going down. Gio has broken Senna's economy back at home, but of course Senna has made a new home here on the southern half of the map. What a goofy game this is turning into. It has been a while since there has been a pure Scorpion Kane's Wrath match. This is definitely more of a Tib Wars kind of style, but of course in that case the games usually aren't 20 minutes long. Pure Scorpions, they normally have resolved if it's pure Scorpions and it's not a play to the late game. But in this case, neither player has gone for tech beyond Dozer Blades. They have just been hanging out on the Dozer Blade Scorpion tech tree forever. EMP lands, only a couple of tanks, but a couple more will make some circles towards the enemy. 1 tank dies. 2 of the EMP tanks might actually survive right on the edge there. Oops. Oh, he survives. Okay. Those EMP tanks, they have a decent survival rate in the last couple of fights. Good thing for Gio. And Gio out of cash. It looks like he might have another refinery queued up for the low ground. Senna has taken every attack that Gio has thrown at him, and now Senna has reclaimed 9,000 credits in that total resources gathered difference from earlier. Senna is reclaiming the economy of this game. He is looking to be the chief of eco. And bikes swing in? Yeah, a couple of bikes. Maybe just 1. Not a lot of bikes left for giopanipi, unfortunately. So many Scorpion tanks. Gio at 69 total units out on the field, and Senna at 81. A Harvester does go down. Nicely done there by Senna with like 1 bike and 1 rocket squad gets a kill on a Harvester. Tanks moving in. Gio has abandoned the high ground, so he did try to respond to that attack with basically everything in his arsenal. And the result was that Senna tried to move in for the kill, and Senna's going to be moving in now. So it's a base for a base, maybe. Refinery does get sold off there. That's a couple of more Awakened squads that could make their way to the front line for those EMPs, and this bike has not been dealt with. This game is just so goofy from these 2 players, and that Harvester might eventually be targeted down. But one advantage of Marked of Kane versus Blackhand is the Marked of Kane guy actually has stealth harvesters. So Scorpion tanks need something to give them vision of the harvesters to be able to actually get the kills. and that is the curse that Gio has to deal with. His opponent's harvesters are stealthed. The high ground base is just going to be given up. We have not seen any obelisks, no tech tier 3, no Redeemer, no Vertigos, nothing like that. It has just been pure. I mean, this is a Blackhand player. Think about this, a Blackhand player that we have not seen Black Disciples. This game is stretching almost to the 30-minute mark, and we have not seen Black Disciples upgraded yet. That is just not something that happens very often. When was the last time you saw a Blackhand player not get a secret shrine within the first 8 minutes of a game? It has been... I can't even remember, because it's such a common build path. It is such a good upgrade. And I don't even care that he triple refineried a medium field, a field that you would normally just have 2 refineries, 5 harvesters for. That would be an amazing Vertigo bomb on top of that gigantic stack. That might be 12 tanks all stacked up in that one spot. That is just so many Scorpions from Senna. Gio has climbed over 100 units. Now, of course, a decent chunk of that is infantry, but Senna, he's reached 100 as well, and he's got a lot more tanks rather than just infantry. Gio's MCV is making a run for it. Double Engineer is maybe going to be able to grab those tib spikes without even being noticed. That MCV gets dumpstered as Senna loses his build queue as quickly as he deploys it. He will get the high ground defensive tower, it seems, and that is going to be very annoying for Gio to deal with. A couple of Scorpions will die because of that, but ultimately it probably won't have that much consequence. I love these rockets buying so much time for these Scorpions, getting every extra moment that they possibly can. Defensive tower is now going to be able to help out Senna in this engagement. EMP lands, and Senna washes over Gio's army. 90 versus 30. The supply doesn't lie, and just look at it. Mass Scorpions for Senna for the win. Senna's going for the steamroll, and Gio just did not have enough. And in the end, Senna will end this game 2,000 credits more gathered than Gio. Gio holding out for a good fight, climbing towards the 30-minute mark, and no one built anything beyond Scorpions. That was a pure tier 1 kind of game. Absolutely goofy from these two jokesters. Senna climbing his way, a little bit of a gap there in the income, but he brings it back at the end, and Gio unable to gain any kind of advantage. He started with that tank disadvantage, and that just became an albatross around his neck, but in a bad way. He started with that tank disadvantage, and he was never able to overcome it. Welcome to Chaotic Coastline here for a 2v2. And thanks to Double Evil's recolor mod, we will have red versus blue in this 2v2. Roughly, we'll have warmer colors versus cooler colors. On the left side, playing the GDI. This is AWEG 1. And also playing GDI, just playing a darker red, this is OhayoPokko. Meanwhile, on the right side of the map, going to be kicking it as the Scrin. This is Crissaly, is that lovely cyan. And as the blue, this is Daniel. Daniel also playing GDI. I mean, this is one of those games where 3 out of the 4 players are GDI. By the way, if you want to see the other 4 players, there you go. The other 2 players. Now you can see them. All right, this version of the map is a little bit of a modified version from the original. It looks like we do have 2 additional tip spikes, so you do get 1 per player. And then you do have these bridges which join these side pieces to the mainland. You do also still have these subway entrances. I don't know that the subway hub actually works in multiplayer matches. I know that it's kind of like the tunnel networks for GLA, but I think that's only in the campaign. At least I've never seen anyone in a competitive match actually capture it. And I don't think I've ever tried to capture it either. So I think it's almost entirely decorative at this point. 3 GDI and 1 Scrin. By the way, A Productions YouTube was also... he was an observer in this, so I don't know, maybe this is over on his channel as well. Actually, I don't know if that guy still casts Kane's Wrath and Tib Wars or not. Haven't seen anything around from him in a while, but, you know, who knows? War Factory, a couple of harvesters here for AWEG1. Pitbull getting some free shots on that MCV, always annoying. This is one of those official maps where it really just builds into these fights around these 2 big secondary fields. You get forced into the middle of the map. The distance between places, between bases is very small, and you end up in a situation where it's usually a race to either rush and kill your opponent or race to late game tech so that you can juggernaut your opponent to death. I feel like those are the 2 places we normally see this one go. And when you got 3 GDI players, well, there is a huge incentive to just go for jugs, to fast tech, get a Marv, get some jugs, get 3 MCVs, and triple sonic emitter your way to victory. But what happens when you've got 3 GDI players? Well, you just do a ton of that. But in this case, I don't know, these guys might not be playing at the highest level of the meta. They might not be going for the same sort of a thing that you would have seen from East versus West, which was a lot of GDI Juggernaut plays. These guys might be going for something just a little bit different. We did see the Descent Rush earlier on from Crissaly, but it didn't actually work out very well. Descent rushes, they're something that we love to see people attempt, but they don't often do very much in this day and age. Maybe if he wasn't playing Scrin and he had fast legs, but alas, he is just vanilla Scrin, so no hope there of the fast legs. Double expanding to the middle. This can sometimes be a little bit awkward if one player gets 2 or 3 refineries down before the other player has the first refinery. So it is good to see a decent number of harvesters, decent number of refineries from every player on each of the 2 teams. And this bridge segment is almost destroyed, but it's just not quite dead yet. Team Red really wants to kill off that bridge, apparently. AWEG1 really wants to cut off that potential attack path so that he doesn't have anyone sneaking around in the back of his expansion, and he can just worry about that front line. Here we go. Tier 3 is out. We do have a gravity stabilizer. We always have the possibility of some Devastator warships on the field, but not yet. Mechapedes out on the map. This is a lot of APCs. Okay, Poko. We saw him building some APCs earlier, and it's like, oh, okay, someone wants to build some APCs. That's kind of cute. This is way more APCs than you normally see. He is really worried about either Descents or he is worried about some other infantry. Maybe he thinks he's up against Traveler 59 and he has to worry about cultists, but he might just be worried about the Descents and concerned what they will do to him. There's the Marv. The Reclamator Hub is out on the field now from DanielDM. And Hammerheads get eaten up by those pit bulls. Those doggies find themselves a nice shark to eat. How often do you see a dog eating a shark? I guess not that often, but is there another animal that is called a hammerhead? The only thing I can think of is a hammerhead shark, but maybe hammerhead could actually be referring to something else as well. Sniper teams getting called in. Yeah, Poko is really worried about infantry. He has a ton of APCs. He's calling in sniper teams as well, and he's got that AP ammo. Well, he's got a Redeemer, not a Redeemer. He's got a Marv on the way, which I guess it is nice not to have to worry about any kind of shenanigans relating to one clicks from Nod. That is kind of a nice thing to not have to worry about. First Juggernauts coming on out from AWAG 1. Marv now out on the field for Poko. Ooh, heading a little far forward. I don't know if this is going to work out. Warp Chasm, about halfway done with that Eradicator Hexapod, and then the four-way... no, I guess there isn't a second Marv on the red side. Where's the second Marv? Where's the AWAG 1's Marv? I'm not actually sure that he has one. But, okay, we'll have 3 out of the 4 epic units in just a moment. Who cares if we don't actually get the 4th? That bridge segment never actually got destroyed. It's down to like 5-10% health. And Stasis lands on all of those Preds. No railguns on those Predators, but it's only 3 tripods, and they're getting just completely cut down by those Juggernauts. A couple of Juggernauts will be taking the orbital bombardment to the face. One of them does go down, and that stasis wears off at just the right time to see all of these fresh Predator tanks onto the front line. Firehawks are here for some reason. A couple of them do get blasted out of the sky, and then the EMP from the Shockwave Artillery hits some massive targets. Almost every single Juggernaut gets caught, and it's ready for a lunchtime because this Eradicator is going to town, and he sees a feast in front of him. Gets himself a Harvester, maybe? No, the Harvester does survive. The front line being held down by this one single Marv, but of course he's got Juggernauts to back him up. Both sides have Juggernauts, and the Marv for the blue team goes down. Daniel is going to be digging a grave for that Marv, hoping that he doesn't have to take too many sonic emitter shots in the face, but they do get shelled down by the Juggernauts. And is that the last shot? No, this Marv is so low on health, and these Juggernauts could finish it off if they just got one more volley off. One Juggernaut goes down. 3 Juggernauts. They're going to be targeting the MCV. Daniel doesn't get the kill. He doesn't get the kill on the Marv. He changes targets to that MCV, and the result is no dead Marv. The backstab, though. A couple of zone troopers going to be able to catch 2 Juggernauts. An amazing backstab there by Daniel. Nice moves by Daniel to sneak in a couple of zone troopers. I assume he called in the drop pod, and he just dropped zones right on top of his opponent's reinforcing Juggernauts and just cleaned up 2 of them. Got a decent chunk of health away from that war factory as well. Couple of tripods, couple of Juggernauts might be recovered here. Hammerhead swinging in. Daniel hoping to do that critical damage to this infinite line of Juggernauts. And I said these guys may not be playing the same kind of builds that the top level players are, but it seems like they are. They got the memo on Juggernauts are a good unit. And this is 1.2 plus R18. So you should build infinite Juggernauts and pretty much only Juggernauts. OhayoPokko is Buka. Okay, so Poko is Buka. Interesting. I don't know that I ever would have been able to tell that from just the gameplay alone, but that makes me wonder if AWAG is someone else as well. And that does explain, I mean, Buka's a pretty good player, so that does explain why he knows the one trick that Scrin players hate, which is to build infinite Juggernauts. So he does know that little secret, that unknown, that hidden pro-level strat. Build a ton of Juggernauts. I mean, even the Eradicator Hexapod, when it's being healed, blink away, there we go. He always gets blinked away just in time. So then that makes me think, okay, maybe Crissaly and DanielDM are also Smurfs. And this is maybe a little bit of a higher level game than when I just see 4 random names and I'm like, who are these guys? Who knows? Could be anything. I'm curious if it's Buka, what would his thinking was behind going for all of these sniper teams. What are the Firehawks going? I assume the Firehawks are loaded with anti-air missiles, and that's why they keep patrolling right near the front line. They're looking for those aircraft. Marv has been rebuilt. Double Zone Trooper, double Engineer. Hammerheads, by the way, flying around for DanielDM, but it looks like they've maybe called off that attack. Ooh, is that an Orca Strike? Yes, it is. All right, Subway does get cleaned out there. No one's eaten fresh today. Orc Strike still hasn't landed here. Does he back into it? No, he doesn't. Nicely done. Oh, that was Juggernaut shots. Absolutely destroyed that Marv. 2 volleys. Third volley lands down to 10%. Gets himself a couple of harvesters to snack on. But, oh, man, this Marv, he didn't even get to fight. The Juggernauts just absolutely eviscerated him. Oh, he gets phased. He gets phased on top of the orbital bombardment. This one little trick. You've never heard of this one little trick. It's called 80,000 Juggernauts. Firehawks cleaning up the Devastator warships, trying to stop them from tearing the base apart. And no, the Hammerheads, they're coming back. They're coming back. They're going to get the Firehawks on the deck. They're going for the power plant, but it is not enough because Supersonic Airstrike, that was one of the most effective Supersonic Airstrikes I've ever seen. And that Eradicator gets eradicated and just absolutely annihilated. Shockwave Artillery, massive hits. One side or the other. It looks like a lot of these jugs are going to be locked in place to be eaten up by their opponents. Poko and Aweg, they've learned the pro strat. Build a lot of Juggernauts. Crissaly and DanielDM put up a good fight, but ultimately, it's a hard thing to beat a lot of Juggernauts. He just crushes the mecha feed. He just stomps all over it. Zone Troopers getting dropped in once again. This time, those power plants did depower that AA battery, but fortunately, Harvesters apparently do a pretty good job of killing off Zone Trooper squads. Not something you would have guessed. Not something you would have necessarily thought is the primary function of a Harvester, killing Zone Trooper squads, but apparently it is true. And that is double MCV, but not a lot of ground to build on. There's not a lot of free space on the ground to be able to build on. Zone Troopers still continuing to break apart Poko's base. Poko, he's got the frontline army moving forward, but he does not have much to call home. He doesn't have a base to go back to. He doesn't have a home base to rebuild from. So as this front line moves forward, Poko, well, he's got an expansion to fall back upon, but no main base, unfortunately, for him. I don't know that he's really gonna need it. He's got 30,000 Juggernauts, and he is just marching his way to the front line. Marv going for the crush on those Zone Troopers, and this is a naked Marv. That's a Marv with nothing inside of it. Not something you see very often. Marv with no upgrades. The Juggernauts every time. Oh my gosh, this is just so many Juggernauts. Every time they find a target, it's just the entire screen lights up with fire. It's just so many shots. It's so many Juggernaut shells getting launched by those jugs. Just the infinite wall of Juggernauts. Oh my gosh, it's not even fair. The game is trying to play all of the sound effects at once, but it's too many sounds for the audio engine to handle. Oh my gosh, these Zone Troopers have not been stopped. They've gone heroic. One of them's gone golden, the other double vet, but it's not enough because the Harvesters are gunning them down. A couple of riflemen could actually get in on the action and help blast away those Zone Troopers. Is this gonna turn into a base trade? They let just this nothing army from behind tear them apart. The Hammerheads from DanielDM have been doing massive work off screen. Are you kidding me? DanielDM is apparently the hero of the blue team. And guess what? Juggernauts can't shoot up. This entire army actually could get shredded by those Hammerheads. Poko and Aweg, they forgot to build anti-air. No, that is so many Juggernaut shots to knock down that Marv, clean it up and eliminate it. Aweg loses his MCV, and now the Juggernauts are descending upon, or the Hammerheads are descending upon the Juggernauts, targeting them down one by one. Got every single Jug queued up, and it is a race against time. Pokko has been defeated. The GG gets called from that guy, and it looks like Crissaly and DanielDM will come through with apparently the one counter to the mass Juggernaut, and that is Hammerheads that were never built against, that were never defended against. I can't believe they did that. I can't believe that little attack around the side just kept snowballing. The aircraft were never fully dealt with from DanielDM. He came back with that killer group of Hammerheads in the comeback, and that Zone Trooper squad also just doing so much damage, way more damage than you would expect. Build a couple of slingshots. Build 3 slingshots. Okay, you might need more than 3 slingshots, but build a couple of slingshots and that game is completely different. But that will do it for that match. Let's jump into the next one. Welcome to Atacama Road for a trip to the very large telescope, but also to the Green Traveler 59. This is Bike Rush in the north, and as the pink nod in the south, this is Rex. Nod versus Traveler 59. Could be a very abusive match. We'll see. They might need to see they might need a telescope to see the tiny bits of Rex that will be floating in space after this game, after the aliens get done abusing him. But also, maybe this is one of those games where Rex absolutely brings it, where Rex has a fantastic showing. However, historically, BikeRushOwnz wins this match. He has a winning record versus Rex. And Rex did play a lot of games over the last couple of years against Bike, against Drive, Futurama, pretty much all of the best players. And Rex puts out good games. He just doesn't necessarily win versus Bike all that much. Which, by the way, if you want a recommendation for Rex to see some cool Rex gameplay, check out the Rex versus Drive versus Futurama. It was like a 3-way King of the Hill, where basically you would play King of the Hill style, but it's all 1v1s. And so let's say it's like Rex versus Futurama, and Rex wins that game, then Rex plays Drive after that. But it was a very evenly matched set of 1v1s. So 3 players, little King of the Hill, cool match to watch. And Rex versus Bike Rush is something that we haven't seen in a little while. We have seen this matchup. There was a very entertaining Threshold 19 game that these guys played, and Rex's macro came to hurt him in that moment. Rex will have these moments where his income spikes up to like 10k, and he seems to sort of have that more than other players. And once he gets that under control, he's a very powerful player, but sometimes that macro weakness can kind of hurt him. We'll see if it does in this game. We'll keep an eye on that total resources gathered and the income in his bank for Rex. And of course, Bike Rush, well, he's a guy who has many times loved his mind control and has in many cases done a lot with a little. So maybe the mind control will be a big annoyance for Rex in this game that he has to deal with. That's something that is never fun to play against, is mind control. But maybe Bike Rush won't go for that kind of a build. For right now, he's just going big eco. This is low and slow kind of an opening. Let's get everyone ready. Let's make sure that we have a ton of harvesters. It is going to be a second war factory after that third refinery for Rex, whereas BikeRushOwnz, who has pumped out just a crazy number of harvesters, he's up near 9 harvesters, maybe even 10. We got 5 on that field, and I think we now have 4 on this field. So yeah, he's got 10 harvesters because there's actually 2 down on the blue. 10 harvesters. And right inside of, like, what, 4 minutes in this game? Is that really what that says? Yeah. Look at that. BikeRushOwnz absolutely killing it on the eco side of things. And, well, after this, he's going to go into a portal. It looks like it's going to be Descents. He goes for the Stasis as well, so Fast Leg's going to be the upgrade, and then it's going to be second War Factory after that, or is he going to go single War Factory and some tech, and then go for the later game Eradicator Hexapod kind of stuff, instead of going for a second War Factory right off the bat? Descent's getting jumped on. I love this from Rex. He just absolutely dumpsters that infantry build that was happening. A lot of that happening before the Descents actually get their fast legs. So not a lot of maneuverability opportunities here for Bike Rush. He is now going to turn this into a little bit more of a fair fight. It's going to be Scorpions versus Seekers. He's got those Descents mixed in as well. So now these Scorpions on the ramp, taking some serious damage from those Descents. Going for the crush as well. Rex shuts down some of those Descents, but pays for it with the health bar of that Scorpion. And it looks like Rex's front line keeps the attack moving forward. If Rex could actually get some harvesters, that would be sick. First cultist steps on out. He survives the first bash with these buggies, but now the buggy numbers are even better as a couple of reinforcements show up here. Temporal Wormhole going to be slowing everything down. Rex is looking really fantastic here as Bike Rush went for big eco and followed it up with some tech, and now needs to get the actual production out to match his economy. Descents onto the front line. Harvesters getting targeted. Seekers tanks buying a lot of time for Bike Rush to get something else out, and it's going to be a storm column out onto the front line for Bike Rush. Descents and Seekers have bought enough time, and there's actually going to be a harvester blinked back because, yes, there is a Prodigy out on the map. There is a Prodigy here to stay. Operations Center is here, Tier 3 as well for Rex. Catalyst Missile catches only one refiner, unfortunately, there for Bike Rush. He's mostly through this field, but this is still a lot of Tiberium to get locked up in the parking lot outside of this one refinery in the south. So BikeRushOwnz will have that annoyance to deal with. Seed Tiberium gets deployed as well. Nicely done by Rex. This opening is really good. I'm worried about the late game for Rex. His macro has been pretty much on point as well. Bike Rush is 12,000 credits. Oh, here we go. Okay. He gets the sell-off. Like, at least he gets that money. And instead of Bike Rush getting that money, oh, the area mind control. Almost brutal, but it did not matter. Chemical plant, and the Prodigy doesn't get flamed. All right, wormhole. Okay, wormhole's over. Finally, it does go down there. And that Prodigy trying all kinds of sneaky stuff. Look at those flames hunting down that Prodigy. So that's where the wormhole was, somewhere around there. And the Prodigy went back through, and then the flames crossed the map. One of those weird things about that's how the Kane's Wrath engine works, is that when something teleports, it sort of just moves, and so that's why sometimes you'll see tracks on the ground. The game will put down tracks. MCV gets packed up. Area mind control, and the MCV does get returned to Rex. Perfectly done there as the Prodigy gets sniped. He may have dodged those flames, but he did not dodge those bullets. And those Raiders cleaned him up. Rex is really nicely set up. That one single descent, he is a speedster. This guy's the Flash, just dodging all of these Scorpion tank shots. I don't even care what else is going on the game. And then, just like the Flash, he gets run over by a tank. Okay, this is where Rex makes his big mistake. The tripods will find the MCV. They get a little bit of an EMP there, but not enough to lock it down. There's the EMP. The MCV does get locked down. Wah, wah. And these tripods may actually sacrifice themselves to get that kill. No, they don't have to. Tripods get whisked back to the other side of the map, and BikeRushOwnz has bought enough time to get out that Eradicator Hexapod, a couple of tripods, and now these Scorpions that don't have any upgrades are looking rather silly. That tier 3 should have been getting laser capacitors a long time ago, but it did have to get sold off to avoid it getting captured. 2 more harvesters getting sniped there. I think they were about half full of Tiberium. And the MCV is now going to get sniped as well. Bye-bye to that MCV. Mine drop coming in on top of those tripods, at least on top of one of the tripods. And actually, without anything to heal it, this Eradicator Hexapod is taking a lot of damage. It will need to be blinked away to save it from these Scorpions. Otherwise, it will just go down on the front line. Look at that. Look at that lovely little line of tracks that lead back to wherever it was teleported to. 1 tripod goes down, 2nd tripod might be eliminated, and the 3rd is left on his own. But the engineers jump inside of those tripods basically immediately and bring them back online, allowing these tripods to kill so many more Scorpion tanks than they otherwise would have been able to. Harvesters stealing Tiberium from that other side of the map, and laser capacitors finally finishing up. Rex's income being put to good use, and he has clawed back that total resources gathered difference between these 2 players. BikeRushOwnz finds the strength to build a mothership, and you're going to need more Venoms out on the map if you want to gun that thing down. Venoms do at least have laser capacitors as well, so that is a definitely nice advantage. Crushes that husk. A definitely nice advantage for area mind control. Cleans up one of those Scorpions. Oh, a couple more of them. Might go down. Yeah, okay, 2 Scorpions, and area mind control should end. Whoa. Okay, so that area mind control does last a little while. Lasted kind of longer than I expected it to. MCV... Did the MCV get rebuilt? He must be on the other side of the map, right? Where's your MCV, Rex? Where's Rex's MCV? If he did not rebuild his MCV, that is definitely a curious move. Harvesters, these Nod harvesters freely harvesting from that Tiberium as they are stealthed, but those Scrin harvesters just keep getting sniped by Rex. Venoms did not find the mothership. This mothership is actually fairly undefended as the Eradicator Hexapod is walking away from it. Rex needs to be attacking this right here, right now. He's going to try and cross map. He's going to be going for a bit of counterattack damage. I guess it's actually not even a counterattack. It's just an attack because the Eradicator Hexapod hadn't even made it to Rex's base yet. There's the blink backwards. He's going to be able to go for the crush, go for the kill on these Scorpions. And the Venoms are still not attacking this drone ship, this mama ship that's moving through the middle of the map so incredibly slowly. He's already to Rex's base, and Rex apparently didn't get an MCV, didn't push out to that 3rd base location on the left side of the map. If he had an MCV over here, he would be safe. He could fire sail this entire set of structures, and instead, I don't know what is going on. I'm not sure what is even happening in this game because the Venoms aren't attacking this mothership. They haven't been attacking this mothership. Area mind control taking down a couple of more of these Scorpion tanks. The green ones are the mind-controlled ones, and they... Oh my gosh, are you kidding me? Now 2 buggies are attacking this. He's going to chain it off of his own units. Nope, that didn't work. He's going to have to take another shot. Okay, there's the sell-off. He's going to try and chain it off of his units. And... 3rd time's the charm, I guess. Chain? Okay, chain dies there. Well, Venoms finally returned to actually do some damage, and the mothership never disappears. he keeps firing at the ground. I don't know what's going on. BikeRushOwnz has bought a lot of time, though. He never lost this Eradicator, which has been a huge benefit. Rex is a little bit in disarray. He did have to fire sale a lot of stuff, and because he never got that MCV, he never got this third base cooking. Okay, Mothership goes down. That was not the big game finish that we expected it to be. Area Mind Control, again, just captures a couple of those Scorpion tanks. And, oh, wow, Rex actually has 10 grand. He has 10 grand in the bank. He sold off all of those structures, one of his war factories, and he started producing an MCV at the same time. So he was kind of locked up in terms of production. And now he's got a huge amount of float that should have been redirected towards something a little bit more useful. But in this case, he's just now restarting that Scorpion tank production. He's also getting Venoms. Great to help counter the infantry and deal with all of these descents. Scorpions, you know, they'll do their work, but ooh, that is a fully heroic Raider buggy as well. And yeah, the Raider buggies, the Shredders, even the Scorpions getting in on the action, but the Venoms as well, just shredding that little group of infantry. And Venoms hunt down this Prodigy. Get him, get him, get him! Links away. A nice teleport by that Prodigy to sneakily escape. Go for the... Oh, nope. Prodigy's going to run away. I'm not sure what that Prodigy is hoping to do. Go deep into enemy territory. That's fine. Go ahead. Lose a couple of Venoms. Who cares? You get the Prodigy. That Prodigy has caused so many problems for Rex over the course of this game. One Militant squad just kind of staring at that Tib Spike. BikeRushOwnz having to sell off some of the stuff back at home. He is strapped for cash. He has been low on income for a long time, and BikeRushOwnz never expanded really himself either. So not only did Rex not expand out to that third until now as he's running away from this Eradicator, shock troopers and descents chasing him down, that MCV taking massive damage, Rex committing to an attack on the other side of the map, and then he turns around his army and he says, no, actually come back home. But the MCV is about to go down. BikeRushOwnz finding the scrappiness from within, and that's it for Rex. What you see is what you get. His war factory goes down, his MCV goes down, and BikeRush still has his Eradicator. He's going to chomp on those buildings, chew them up, and spit them out one by one. And this one is massive lasers from Rex, but he's just chasing these ghosts. He has to win the game with what you see on the screen, and he has to somehow keep these last few buildings alive. Tripod on the right, and the Eradicator trades his life, and it doesn't matter. The Eradicator survives, and Rex takes the L. No, Rex! No! So close versus Bike on Atacama Road, but it just didn't happen. Poor Rex. Poor Rex. He was so close. He out-ecoed a Scrin player in the second half of that game because BikeRush never took a third. And then BikeRush commits to one last attack, and because that MCV was right there and there was only one war factory, that was the end of the line for Rex. Those last power plants going down, and BikeRush knew that the only thing he had to do was kill those couple of structures. Oh, Rex. An unfortunate loss for him, like a fantastic, you know, first 5 or 6 minutes, and then maybe some mistakes in the middle, but he really rolled it all together at the end and almost came out with a fantastic game versus BikeRush. But BikeRush, of course, dives past the defense and gets the kill. Always able to slip through the defense, always able to find an angle and get the win. Bike is a tough opponent for that exact reason. Thank you all very much for watching. I hope you enjoyed it. And this is Sybert signing out.